Hello and welcome everyone back to some more GP bikes. Now lately I've been playing a lot of MotoGP 22, got a free trial, now unfortunately it has run out, so today we are back on one of my favourite, if not favourite games, GP bikes. Now, as you can see by the title, I have found my new go-to practice track. Now this track, I actually only played it for the first time yesterday, so it's still fresh to me. It was sent to me by a friend of mine. He recommends it and it's a great track, it's one of his favourites, great for the 600s. So I set up a lobby last night with a few friends and I spent about two and a half hours going around and we had a great time, and it's a great little track. Now as you can see, 15 corners, a good mix of lefts, rights, the track mark, to be fair, makes it look quite basic. Like this corner here looks like one long corner. There's like 5 different apexes in it like that you can take the curve changes, so you need to take a really conservative wide line and try and hit the apex there to open up this corner. That is way tighter than the fields. This corner you have to really square it off to get the exit. The final corner looks nothing like that, as you'll see. That chicane is tighter. This is much tighter as well to get the corner here, and it's quite narrow on the exit. It's a real technical track and it's brilliant for the 600s. We're going to jump on now. So the inspiration level really behind this is you see a lot of the Spaniards riding on go-kart tracks on 600s, the Ovales, and to be fair, I've never actually heard of this track before I was sent it last night. Now I'm going to just do an outlap, just show off the track, and then I will do a slow lap talking about kind of what way to take the track and which best lines to be taking. But the big thing for me is tight and twisty, and you don't get massive high speeds around here, but it really does show and improve your bike control because you can kind of drift it into these corners and drift it out. The only thing I will say is as the track rubs in, it becomes a lot easier to ride. It's quite a slidey and slippery track when it is green. A lot of the tracks are really, but when we were riding last night, as the session went on, we found so much time. So again, that 31.8 is quite a good lap considering it's a green track. But overall, it's just a great little practice track just to get your eye in. From now on, I'm definitely going to be using this to just anytime there's a setup change I need to make, or if the physics get adjusted, new betas, anything like that, I'm going to come to this track and just have a little blast on a 600. Now I think the thousands might be a bit of overkill around here. I think they will be a bit awkward to ride, but saying that, I reckon you could still get away with them, and it would be good practice for riding a 1000cc bike on a slow twisty track. This would be brilliant for it. So again, it would improve your bike control into the final corner. This is a very tightens as it goes on, which is very annoying for me. I don't like corners like that, so that's the only corner I don't really like. We come down to turn 1, you're going to be kind of braking as you hit the limiter, just as you see that white kind of cone on the outside of turn 1. You want to hit a late apex kind of here, just so you can straight line across here. Depending on your bike setup, you can cut this curve very aggressively. Again, as late as possible, the apex there. You want to drift out all the way to the outside of the track, back to first gear. Hell, a lot of rear braking here. As soon as you get to the apex, you pick up a nice early throttle, drift it out, and then into this corner you go back to first, wait for it, and pick up a nice early throttle, drift it around the corner just to get to by turning. As the grip level comes up, it's a lot easier to drift around here. Just as the rumble strip starts, you want to be in fourth for that. A lot of rear brake on tipping really helps. And again, just as the tyre wall starts there, you tip it in, go back to second. I kind of make a bit of a V8 stop here and just turn it back, and I clip this part to the apex, opening up the following right hander. Into here, you just want to touch off of third gear for a second, back down to second, apex early but make into a V, kind of square it off, pick it up again. When the track comes up to temperature and gets a bit of rubber around, you can really drift and spin the bike through there. Just before the first shadow, you're braking quite aggressively with the front brake, back to third, and just try and flow the bike through it and just drift up onto this curb. Careful on the demount because it's easy to tuck the front. A lot of rear brake through here, third or second gear, and in here now, this is the line I take. I go really tight, back to second, lots of rear brake, and then pick up a really early throttle. Again, like I keep saying, as the track rubs in, you can really spin the bike out of that corner. That was a 34.9, so again, we're going to just pick up the pace this lap around and show off what I can do. I went up to 6 that time. I'd just like to stretch out 6 a small bit. Again, back to first, square off this, short shift to third. Hold third, flick it in, a lot of rear brake, keeping a nice late apex. Again, very careful of that curb. If you go onto the curb as you demount it, you can easily lock the front. Again, I'm just not being able to spin it at the moment because there's just not enough grip, and I will split myself off very easily. You can see it is kind of sketchy at the moment, the grip levels. Trying to get your knee down. Again, watch that curb there. That is a massive jump if you hit it wrong. Again, taking way too much speed in. I'm going to have to just scrub this off. Try and get a really late apex. The good thing about the corner is there's many ways to take it, so even if you do get the entry wrong, you can kind of get a good exit. Again, out using all the track. Back to first, square this off. Again, drifting it everywhere. We're not running any traction either at the moment. Just before the shadow, back to third. You can take this in second. Most of the time I like it in third just because you can control the mid-corner speed better. A lot of rear brake. You can take the curb ever so slightly, but it does push the front out wide like that. And then you end out on the curb. Again, I've gotten the last corner wrong, but up the line it's going to be about half a second improvement. And across line it's going to be a 1 minute 31.3. So again, not a bad lap time. A 1 minute 31 here is a good lap time. With the green track, I'm pretty happy with that pace. But for racing terms, it's another little track that you can kind of just make up lines. It's a lot of, you can kind of go shallow here and absolutely send it into this little chicane, or into this hairpin here. A lot of rear brake. You can park on all the apex block pass. I highly recommend trying the 600s on it. Again, like I said, the bike and track will be linked in the description below, so definitely try it out. But as the track comes up, you can see how much you can drift this bike around. It's very good if you run no traction and very little engine brake. You can kind of really play with the bike and you get a good feel of how the physics react in it. So again, if you're a newer player to the world of GP bikes, highly recommend this track. Previously, Catalunya was probably my main test track, along with Jerez, as just two tracks I really enjoy. But their GP tracks, so they're big, they're wide. Well, Jerez isn't too big, but it's still a GP size track, whereas this is small, twisty, it's a little awkward in places, but it's really fun to ride. I'm actually going to jump onto a 1000cc now just to see how it does ride, as I've only ridden this track now with the 600. But yeah, I'm going to jump onto a HP4 and see how that goes. So here we are back now with the HP4, and I must say it is a little bit tight around here on the big bike. It really does feel a bit too much power. The only thing I will say, it's good for practicing your wheelie control, because the bike, especially on the big powerful HP4, it likes to wheelie a lot. So there is definitely good practice around here on a 1000cc bike as well. Why, that was a big moment. But I believe the 600 is the perfect bike around here. But I'm going to see what I can do lap time wise. This is my first lap now. I did my out lap. There's a lot more inertias and forces on a 1000cc bike. They're a lot harder to get around the track. Oh, and I'm a lot faster in the corners. I'm still using a lot of my braking markers just because I can't actually get up to higher speeds on the 1000. I just can't use the power. Anti-wheelie cutting in a lot. Traction trying to slow me down as well. So whereas on the 600 I wasn't using any of the electronics. A lot of electronics are needed. Whoa, it's a big moment there. Not really sure what happened, but we're going to try another lap and see what I can do. So down to turn one we come. I really need to set this bike up a bit better. It's a bit spongy at the moment. Only thing I will say, if it's spongy it'll probably be good over the curbs, but for now I'm just trying to get a lap in. A 144 with the crash was the opening lap. Definitely reckon I could get a sub 30 if I can get the performance out of the bike. Oh, again the change of direction was violent. Drifts and then it grips and it wheelies. It's a bit of a pain to ride around here at the moment, these 1000cc bikes. What I might actually do is put into more of a soft power mapping in intermediates, just to give myself a bit more of a progressive throttle. Dull the power down. Definitely works. I'm going to go back to dry or D2 just because the intermediate felt a bit too soft of a mapping for the dry. I actually feel like I can ride the bike now with the slightly lower torque and power map. Again, it is very soft. Out the last corner we come. Oh, watch the grass. It's going to be a 31.7, so we're pretty much on the 600 time already. So it's just showing that I really don't have much more time in this. And that also shows how you can really push a 600 around here, whereas a 1000 is just, like I said a few times, just a bit too big for this track. Can't really use it very well. But again, like I said though, it's very good for your small adjustment, your close control of the bike. Again, you can see me drifting the HP4. Oh, don't want to get on the curb. I want to push to see can I actually get a sub 30. That is the goal. When I can or not, I don't know. At the moment this lap doesn't look quick enough. The extra power around here really isn't helping at the moment. It's more of a hindrance. But we've gained a good bit of time in that sector there. If I can get the last corner a bit better, I reckon there's definitely time in there. Try and take a tighter line, it just doesn't turn. Get out to the grass. 30.7, so almost there. One more lap. We're in hot, I reckon. Better. So my last lap, see can I go sub 30? Don't know, to be honest, can I? But I feel just too heavy around here compared to that R6 that just wanted to do everything for you. On a good lap so far, just struggling to get it turned really. Try and keep a tighter line this time around. Seem better. Just a bit hot in, that might ruin it. We're pretty much on for it if we can just make a bit of time up in the last sector. Oh, using all the track and then some. Brake early. Try and get it to turn better. Maximise the exit, big slide. Is it going to be sub 30? Oh, look at that lap time. 29.99, so we absolutely shaved our way into the sub 30s. Now with the setup and stuff I could definitely find a lot of time. The bike does not handle well at the moment, but again, practice track, 10 out of 10. Even if you want to go as lower than a 600, maybe the Super Sport 300 mod, the Junior GP, the Moto 3, again it's just good. There's a lot of hairpins, a lot of fast corners, slow corners. It's just a very technical track, and I think it's brilliant for just messing around and practicing and trying out maybe some setup changes, some controller setup changes. Definitely one of the better tracks I've found over the last while. So I'm going to leave it there for today. If you have any other suggestions for tracks that you think would be a good practice track, or you just want to see me cover on the channel, let me know in the comments down below. If you did enjoy today's video, consider subscribing to see more. I shall catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.